everybody, this video is going to be about using food to train your dog, specifically what to do if you have a dog who's just not that interested in food. Now, first things first, if you have a dog who's not really into food, please check with your veterinarian to make sure that there's nothing medical going on. I'm also going to link an article in the description about why some dogs won't work for food. It's written by Eric Brad, who's a certified professional dog trainer, and it's got some great insights into why some dogs are interested in working for food and things that we may inadvertently be doing to make our dogs less food motivated. Now, to be clear, I'm not saying that using food is the only way to train your dog, nor is it always the appropriate motivator, but very often dogs who aren't interested in food tend to be hard to motivate in general. So the cool thing about food is that it's universal. All dogs eat, right? So if you're struggling to motivate your dog and get them interested in working for you, food is a great place to start. And if you can figure out how to get your dog excited about working for food, chances are you're going to get better at motivating your dog in all sorts of areas. Food can also be really beneficial when you're dealing with dogs who get overreactive, overexcited, or overstimulated by the environment. Generally speaking, a dog who can eat is a dog who can think. And it's so much more effective to deal with problem behaviors if you can first get your dog into his thinking brain instead of his reactive brain. And food can really help with that. I'm going to do this video in two parts. First, I'll talk about mechanics and your own body language. And then once your dog is reliably taking food, I'll add some ideas for how you can build more enthusiasm for the food and increase the value of the food that you're offering. One of the first things to look at if you have a dog who's not super keen to take food from you is how you're offering that food. For example, sometimes we approach the dog from the front and then we kind of loom over top of them. And especially if it's a little dog, that can be kind of intimidating. Also, reaching a hand that's coming over the top of their head, a lot of dogs don't like that. Now, every dog has their individual quirks, so notice your own body language and pay attention to your dog and how she's responding to you. What are you doing when she's more interested, and what are you doing when she's less interested in the food? A good trick with dogs who are very scared is to toss the food so that they have to move away from you in order to get it. This is basically a double reward for the dog. They get a yummy treat, and they get distance from the scary human, and that will raise the value of the food and in turn the person providing the food. This is just a few days after we first got Penny, and I was working on eye contact. She's still very shy, so I'm incorporating tossing the food so that she can move away from me and kind of get a break. I'm also starting to use my hand to point out food, which is another good skill for her to have. So think about the level of difficulty from the dog's point of view when you give them food. For a lot of dogs, a hand coming at their face, even if that hand has food in it, can be intimidating. Also, how you hold the food matters. For example, if you tend to hold the food between your fingers, the dog has to learn the mechanics with their mouth and teeth and tongue of taking that food from you. So play around with how your dog seems to take food best. Does he do better if you hand him the food? Is it easier for him if you cup the food in your hand and let him lick it out of your hand? Find whatever is easiest for your dog and practice that. And I do mean practice. This is one of those things that you have to learn each other. The dog has to learn you, and you have to learn the dog, and it's kind of like a dance, a little choreography, if you will. So this is something that you're just going to go out with your dog, do a training session, and practice the dog taking treats. Practice handing the dog treats, practice different delivery methods, practice all of it until you both get proficient. At this point, you can start thinking about making the food more exciting to the dog. So pay attention to things that your dog finds interesting, things that she gets excited about, and incorporate that into how you deliver the food. Maybe you have a dog who likes chasing things, so you can throw the food so that they have to run after it. Maybe they'll enjoy catching the food. And again, this is something that you two will have to practice together, the throwing and the catching, until you get proficient at it. In this example, I'm having Penny dig into my hand to get at the food. For her, that's helping to increase her enthusiasm and her determination to get the food. Obviously, if you have a bigger dog, you're going to have to adjust a little bit. There are other ways that you can hold the food for a bigger dog. Right here, I've put the food in the palm of my hand, kind of between my thumb and my palm. You might get a couple blood blisters doing this, but it's another really good way to build up their drive for getting that treat. Another way that you can add value to the food that you're offering is to pair it with things that the dog already likes or already finds very interesting. So in this example, I'm just noticing that Penny was interested in that clump of grass. And now I'm going to plant some treats near that clump of grass. And then I'm going to call her. And when she comes, I'm going to reward her with the treats that I've already planted. So she's getting the reward of cool smelling spot and treats that she found. Found treats are always more higher value than treats that you hand the dog. And I'm also going to reward her for finding the treats that I told her to find. So all of that builds on itself, and she's now getting rewarded with food, but the food has attached to it good smells, a fun discovery, all sorts of positive things. So there you have it. Watch your own body language, practice the mechanics of treat delivery, and use your dog's natural motivators to add value to the food that you're offering. Of course, there's a lot that I haven't covered, but hopefully this gives you a place to start. Happy training!